IT teams are under pressure to do more with less, but manual processes and disconnected systems are holding them back. I'm joined by Chris Ferraro from Celigo, who will share how their automation platform helps IT scale smarter and faster, and Arqam Imran from BDO Canada, a market leader in the HRIS technology system integration and HR transformation, who will offer real-world insights on transforming the employee lifecycle. Welcome, Chris and Arqam.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Chris, you want to share a little bit about your relationship with BDO?
Yeah, we're proud to partner with BDO on this webinar. They've been an incredible partner to Celigo over the years. We've done countless implementations together, and we really value their experience and expertise. So thank you for doing this, Arqam.
Absolutely.
Chris, thank you so much for sharing that. Let's start with you. What are the biggest operational pain points IT leaders face today?
Yeah, so it's really challenging to be an IT leader today, and that's for a lot of different reasons. One, there's been a record number of SaaS applications that have been adopted by different departments within the business. It rises around 30% each year. And this creates this phenomenon known as shadow IT, where you don't actually know what applications reside in your ecosystem. And you can't really make sure that they're secure or governed or talking to each other in the right ways. And what this creates is this environment where IT is constantly triaging issues and trying to resolve problems. There's a lot of manual processes, and they're stuck holding the bag on a long list of inquiries, and their backlog increases day by day. So I would say shadow IT, growing technical debt, and all of these disconnected systems are some of the biggest problems that IT leaders face today.
Arqam, let's go to you next. From your work with clients, how has the role of IT shifted from service desk to strategic enabler?
It's a great question, Kenna, and I think it's a very important one. In my 7 years experience in the industry, I've witnessed a fundamental shift in how organizations view and really leverage their IT teams firsthand, especially in the context of workforce transformation, where at first IT was once primarily seen as a support function in managing tickets and troubleshooting accesses. It's now being pulled into the center of strategic planning. That shift has largely been driven by the complexity and the pace of modern business. As organizations grow, expand locations, and onboard employees across geographies and different systems, the need for integrated, automated infrastructure has skyrocketed. A clear example of this is in the employee lifecycle. In the past, onboarding a new hire involved back and forth emails between HR and IT, manual provisioning, and disjointed data entry access points. Today, the expectation is for seamless zero-touch automation, where a change in the HRIS system instantly triggers actions in the Active Directory, payroll, and collaboration tools. Here at BDO, I've personally worked with clients where IT leaders are now co-driving conversations around employee experience, compliance, and operation scalability. It's not just in solving technical workspace anymore. IT is really designing the digital foundation that helps the business move faster, stay compliant, and stay competitive.
And what are some of the common approaches to solving the integration challenge? And why are they not sufficient in solving the root of the problem?
When organizations encounter integration challenges, especially across systems like payroll, Active Directory, and collaboration tools, they often turn to familiar but band-aid approaches, unfortunately. And while these methods might work in the short term, they rarely address the root of the problem, right? Which is the lack of scalable, governed, and business-aligned solutions. One approach, which is common, is to lean on legacy integration platforms. These are often rigid, require highly specialized expertise, and come with long onboarding timelines. Not to mention significant licensing and maintenance costs as well. By the time the integration is live, the business is often involved, and IT is already playing catch up again. This is more common than you would expect, where the solutions are being built, but not for today's need for rapid cross-functional adaptability. Then you have the manual workarounds, which are unfortunately all too common in the HR operations world. We still see HR teams using spreadsheets, email chains, or shared folders to pass data between the systems. It's labor intensive, prone to errors, and deeply reliant on a handful of individuals to understand the process. Not only is it unsustainable at scale, but it introduces significant compliance and data security risks as well. Another typical approach is to build custom code integration in-house. often by a skilled developer or IT resource. It might solve the immediate need, but what you're really creating is a black box, a solution that is undocumented, hard to scale, and vulnerable to turnover. We've seen cases where a single developer leaves the organization and suddenly no one is there to maintain or troubleshoot the integration they built. It's a huge risk for the business, especially in today's modern world, and the business criticality of the processes such as payroll, offboarding, and onboarding.
Chris, why is a low code or intelligent automation platform the best integration strategy?
Yeah, so a low code automation platform is definitely the best approach for a few reasons. So, one, I would say flexibility, right? It can scale with the needs of your business and also with a pre built connector, library, and rich orchestration and transformation helpers. You can address a wide variety of use cases. But what you're also doing with a low code iPaaS is you're unlocking talent at the line of business. They can actually build integrations versus before, where all the integration work had to be done with central IT. So we call it collaboration with control. But effectively, what we're doing is we're allowing IT to basically set the guardrails, set the governance and rules in place, and provision access to different tiles or integrations to different teams. Then those teams can go in and automate the process that they know best. So it could be someone in HR, like we're talking about today, automating onboarding and offboarding, or someone in marketing automating lead lifecycle management. So it's really the best of both worlds where we're combining flexibility, the ability to address all of these use cases, but doing so in a secure and governed way where IT's mind is at ease.
Arqam, I'd love to learn from your experience. Can you walk us through a real world example of an automated employee onboarding or offboarding workflow that delivered measurable value?
Good question. So the first one that comes to my mind, and since it's the most recent occurrence in my personal experience, is that of a manufacturing client, personally of mine, who we supported through an HR transformation endeavor and implementation. When we first engaged with them, their employee onboarding process was fragmented, to say the least. HR, IT, and payroll were each working in silos, using disconnected systems, and relying on manual processes a lot just to get a new hire through the door. And with having operations in two countries did not really help their cause either, as they were unable to centralize their employee onboarding workflow. The pain points were everywhere. If I'm honest, HR had to send multiple emails to IT to provision access. Payroll relied on manual exported spreadsheets. System access took several days at times, and in some cases, employees didn't even have the right credentials or the tools by the time they arrived on site. There were data inconsistencies through the system, high error rates in payroll systems. There was a lot of challenges that had to be addressed. From a technology standpoint, what changed the game was leadership alignment, first and foremost. The organization recognized that the scale effectively, especially as they ramped up production across new sites, they needed a better foundation. Here at BDO, we helped them build out a structured onboarding process. The client was able to introduce a formal SOP, defining a unified checklist owned by HR and IT, and implementing a scalable platform that integrated their systems. With the HRIS as the central source of truth and integration layer, we automated the flow of employees' data across payroll, IT provision, and Active Directory. Suddenly, new hires were being set up in hours, not days. System access, batch provisioning, and equipment requests were triggered automatically, and error handling was built in with dashboards for visibility. Now, this is not to say that I've seen this only in the manufacturing business, but because that's the most recent occurrence and it's fresh in my mind, I think it's a safe bet to make sure that everyone's aware that this applies to not only the manufacturing business. It's incumbent upon many different industries that I've worked with in the past as well.
Now, Chris, let's bring you back into the conversation. How does Celigo's platform bring together systems like HRIS, payroll, identity management, and collaboration tools into one seamless automation?
Yeah, so this is such a critical process, like Arquan mentioned. This is a process that is relevant to every industry, right? Every industry wants to onboard new employees and offboard employees who retire or quit, and they really care about their employee experience. So getting this right is important. So with Celigo, you have really all of the tools that you need to complete an end-to-end automation at your disposal. So when you think about different HRIS, payroll, and identity management systems, we have pre-built connectors to most of those, as well as universal API support, where you can integrate into any cloud or on-prem system. Then we support data transformations and branching logic to align with workflows and business rules. So let's say I know within our own organization, We have different apps that are provisioned depending on your role, whether you're W-2, part-time W-2, or a contractor. So you can implement that branching logic within a workflow. Then we have built-in AI functionality, so you can actually ask our knowledge bot if you need help building a workflow or access to information in our knowledge base. And all of this is created with a reusable framework. So if you have a similar use case down the line, you'd actually be able to make a copy of this and reuse it so you're not starting from scratch.
And what role do AI-driven error resolution and role-based controls play in reducing the burden on IT?
Yeah, so I know I mentioned this at the onset, but IT is stuck firefighting a lot, right? They have a lot of issue resolution that's on their plate. So AI error resolution, what we're effectively doing is we're using our subject matter expertise in the space to proactively identify common errors and auto resolve them before they even reach the IT team or before the IT team has to triage them. So if you think about this, if 90+% of your errors are auto resolved before they even reach IT is relieved of 90% of the operational burden of managing these integrations. And as we know, building integrations is difficult, but managing integrations can be even harder over time. So this takes a lot off of IT's plate.
Arqam, how do you advise clients to strike the balance between giving teams autonomy and maintaining IT governance?
So I would say this is one of the most important dynamics me and my team help our clients navigate, especially as automation expands beyond IT and into the business-led functions like HR, finance, and operations. Key to creating a model where IT provides oversight and has layers and levers of control while giving individual teams the flexibility to automate the process they know best. One of the first things we implement is a clear security and roles matrix within the HRIS platform. This ensures that access to automation tools and data is based on defined roles, not ad hoc requests. So HR can automate onboarding, payroll, and finance, can streamline payroll flows via, say, the general ledger, and operations can manage provisioning, but all within a governed framework. From there, we work with the HR and the corresponding IT team to establish the right level of HRIS access within the platform. It's a platform approach that enforces data integrity, monitors integration health, and provides audit trails as well. This gives ID the visibility they need to manage risk and ensure compliance within the application without really needing to hand build every integration or micromanage every workflow. At the same time, we encourage organizations to empower lines of businesses teams to take ownership of their own processes. HR, for instance, knows exactly how onboarding should function for the business, be that it may be different for the corporate employees versus the field services employees. Giving them the ability to configure, not code, their workflow means they can innovate faster while still operating within the bounds of IT-defined policies. This balance is what allows automation to scale. It avoids the pitfalls of shadow IT while truly unlocking the full potential of cross-functional collaboration.
And what benefits do you see HR or finance gaining from automation?
So, one of the most consistent patterns we see when working with HR and the finance teams is how much time gets absorbed by what I would call normalized grunt work. Tasks that are repetitive, manual, and time consuming, yet have become part of the daily routine. Whether it's updating employee records in multiple systems, running payroll reconciliations, chasing down approvals, or reconciling data between spreadsheets, these teams are often stuck in operational loops that have little room for strategic thinking. Automation really breaks that cycle by automating high volume, rules based processes like onboarding, compensation updates, payroll file transfers. We free HR and finance to focus on their core competencies. For HR, that might mean shifting attention to talent strategy, employee engagement. For finance, it's analyzing trends, managing risks, or driving business performance, not correcting GL entries line by line. We've seen this shift happen in real time with my clients. After automation is introduced, the conversation has truly shifted. Instead of asking how to get through a backlog, teams are asking how to optimize processes, how to improve the employee experience, or how to scale effective growth. And it's not just about saving time, it's about evaluating the roles of these functions across the business as well. When HR and finance are no longer buried in manual tasks, they're better positioned to influence strategy, contribute to innovation, and deliver real business value.
Now, Chris, can you walk us through how Celigo's features facilitate this collaboration with business and IT and a federated model?
Yeah. So, like I know we've mentioned before, IT gets stuck with the backlog when there is no collaboration, when they're the sole people getting burdened with requests, having to triage and do issue resolution. And when you're able to unlock talent at the line of business level to also help them with building automations, you take a lot off their plate, but you have to do it in the right way, right? There has to be collaboration with control built in. So Celigo has is role-based access controls that let IT define who has access to different systems and who's responsible for building different integrations. We have tiles, those represent different environments. And so you could have tiles aligned to HR, marketing, sales, finance, segmented by line of business, or you could also have them segmented by use case. We have audit logs across our platform and user level tracking that provide full visibility and traceability so you can see who implemented certain changes and when. And then we have AI guided tools. I know some of them I mentioned before, but we have the ability to prompt AI and write SQL code within the platform, which helps unlock capabilities for business users. We have AI summarized workflow steps and workflows. So you can quickly go into a workflow and see what process it's automating and what the goal of the workflow is. And then, like I mentioned before, we do have AI error resolution. So what that's doing is proactively identifying and resolving errors so IT doesn't have to deal with the bulk of the operational burden. To summarize it, we're giving you all the features that you need to, as an IT professional, collaborate with the line of business, but to do so in the right way with the right governance in place.
Now, the next question's for both of you. What's the one piece of advice you'd give to IT leaders looking to scale smarter through automation? And let's start with Arqam.
If I could offer one piece of advice to business leaders in today's world of competing priorities, it would be this. Never lose sight of the fact that your company's greatest asset is its people. Automation isn't just about reducing operational overhead or driving efficiencies. Of course, that is a contribution of it. At the end of the day, it's really about creating space for your teams to thrive. When you invest in the systems and processes that remove friction from your people's day to day, especially around core functions like onboarding, performance reviews, benefits administration, and payroll, you're not just streamlining workflows. You're sending a message to your employees' time, experience, and contribution, which truly matters. Whether it's helping HR automate manual work so they can focus on culture and retention, or freeing up IT from maintenance tasks so you can focus on innovation, automation is a multiplier. Because when your people have the tools, the time, the trust to really do their best work, the business will flow. And honestly, the dividends will speak for themselves.
Yeah, so I think that it can be overwhelming when you hear the words automation and you can think about all the different areas that it can be applied within your business. I'm sure that everyone has 100+ different different processes that they would love to automate, but it's helpful to prioritize those and really start with one, right? What is your highest priority automation? So you can get a quick win, start proving to the business that this is something that you can implement within the organization. And then from there, you can scale out. But you really want to see one end-to-end automation that will deliver critical business value and get that off the grid first before you go to the rest of the roadmap. We've seen consistently that employee onboarding and offboarding is a great place to start because it takes a lot off IT's plate and can really help improve your employee experience. But frankly, for every organization, it could be different, right? You could have organizations that are dealing with poor lead quality and they need to revitalize their lead lifecycle process, or, you know, post quote, they have no way to get that information into their ERP. So you want to automate their quote to cash process. So as an organization and as a leader within that organization, you know what's most important for your business. Focus on that first, and then you can start to get to the other lower priority automations.
Chris, there seems like a lot of possibilities with automation. Where can we go to explore Celigo's automation capabilities?
You can go to celigo.com to explore some of our real use cases and also look at use cases across departments or across industries. And from there, you'll see buttons that you can click to get a personalized demo if you have a use case that's on your mind or really just want to get a little bit deeper into the technical side. And then we also do have a blog and resource center on our website. So from there, you can see some of our customer success stories and our successful implementations.
Thank you, Chris and Arqam, for joining me here today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning in. For the Channel Company, I'm Kenna Johnson.